For decades, Nepal's economic story has been defined by physical departure. Every year, hundreds of thousands of young people board flights out of this terminal, seeking blue-collar work abroad, while the country relies on traditional exports and remittances to stay afloat. But while physical planes take off, a massive, invisible digital network is operating right here in the Kathmandu Valley. Tucked away in these office buildings and residential neighborhoods is a massive parallel economy running entirely on code. Over the last few years, Nepal's tech sector has quietly doubled its output. In 2022, IT service exports were measured at roughly $515 million. Today, that number has surged past the $1 billion mark annually. This chart shows the growth of IT export companies registered in Nepal. Look at the right side of the graph. That steep exponential curve leading up to 2022 maps a sudden massive accumulation of formal software and tech firms setting up shop. The workforce powering these firms has expanded rapidly. In just a few years, the talent pool has grown from roughly 70,000 to over 100,000 active professionals, writing code, analyzing data, and managing servers. This sector has become one of the country's most competitive service exports, significantly outperforming traditional goods like carpets and textiles in annual earnings. To understand how this happened, you have to look at the country's oldest economic barrier. Nepal is completely landlocked. Moving any physical goods to global markets means routing shipping containers through congested transit ports in neighboring countries. This infographic breaks down the financial penalty of that geography. Moving a single truckload of physical freight costs roughly $3,500 in transit fees and border delays. But software code has no physical weight. By exporting digital services, developers bypass maritime logistics completely, dropping that freight cost to exactly zero. This arbitrage is possible because domestic broadband reach has recently crossed 51%. Massive bundles of fiber optic cables now plug the Himalayan region directly into global markets, providing the distribution channel for these digital exports. By moving the product from cargo ships to server racks, the tech sector neutralized heavy logistics costs that held the country back for decades. So, if shipping costs are zero and the talent pool is growing, where exactly is this $1 billion in foreign capital flowing from? The first major pipeline comes from Australian financial services. Right now, over 100 IT outsourcing firms in Kathmandu are processing back-office home loans, mortgages, and risk assessments for major Australian banks. The second mid-tier pipeline is North America. Nepali engineers build systems for U.S. healthcare providers, handling HIPAA-compliant patient data. At the top of the value chain is artificial intelligence. Companies like Fusemachines train complex neural networks and build custom AI agents for global clients. The workforce has evolved far beyond low-margin data entry, now operating as deeply embedded engineering partners for some of the world's largest corporate networks. Yet, achieving that billion-dollar milestone hasn't meant total freedom. The industry successfully bypassed physical geography, only to slam directly into a new set of domestic regulatory walls. The most immediate issue is the payment blockade. Because Nepal lacks merchant payout integrations for global platforms like Stripe or PayPal, local software firms struggle to collect direct subscription revenue from international users. Then there is the domestic policy friction. The rules governing foreign direct investment are highly convoluted, and corporate tax rates for tech companies change frequently, eroding the long-term trust required to attract massive global contracts. Hitting $1 billion in exports was a grassroots achievement led by the private sector, succeeding in spite of the current policy environment. Scaling past this milestone will depend on whether the government chooses to dismantle these domestic barriers. Policymakers are finally starting to recognize the scale of this opportunity. The government has formally declared the next 10 years as the IT decade, a strategic framework designed to remove these exact regulatory bottlenecks. This chart visualizes the official targets. The plan aims to push annual tech exports from the current $1 billion baseline to a staggering $22 billion, while creating 500,000 direct tech-enabled jobs in the process. If they can hit those numbers, the macroeconomic stakes are immense. Nepal will have shifted its primary export away from physical blue-collar labor and into high-tier, specialized digital services. The talent is already here, and the global demand is massive.
The only question left is whether a landlocked nation can modernize its domestic policies fast enough to capture the billions of dollars still waiting on the other side of these regulatory walls.